Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'll just give everyone a sec to continue connecting to their audio. Kat, I'm just going to make you co-host. If you just see anybody sitting in the waiting room, I'd love if you could just let them in for me, please. That would be fabulous. All right. Welcome, everybody. I hope you can see my screen okay. And thank you so much for coming along to join me. Excuse me while I'm just making sure I've let everybody in. All right. Hello again. So welcome and thank you so much for coming along to our virtual cooking experience. Just realized I don't have a lid on my Thermomix. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chelsea McGill. I'm a Thermomix consultant and team leader. I live in Bunyip, in Victoria, which is on the edge of Gippsland, and southeast Melbourne. If you don't know where that is, not many people do. I have a wonderful team made up of consultants from all around Victoria, and some of them have invited you guys along tonight. I can see a mozzie flying around, and that's going to drive me crazy. So if you see me swatting madly, that's what I'm doing. I'd love if you could pop in the chat box and let us know where are you zooming in from tonight. And do you currently have a Thermomix? If you do, which model do you have? So tonight we are cooking with our Thermomix TM6, which I've always said is our latest Thermomix, but we can't say that anymore as we have officially announced that there is a TM7 coming out, which is very exciting. We have a really nice mix tonight of owners here for a little bit of inspo and some non-owners as well. So I am going to talk a little bit about tips and tricks. As always, you're going to learn even more about your current Thermomix if you do have one, but I'm going to do a little bit of talking about the deals and that are on offer at the moment. And we will touch on the TM7 just slightly as well. Just put my aircon on. It's a bit hot in here now. So pop in the chat and let us know where you're watching from, and do you currently have a Thermomix? If yes, what model do you have? Pop it in the chat box below where I have just put a hello for you all. So in that chat box, let me know where are you watching from. All right, I can't see any comments coming in the chat box. There we go. Hello to Neil from Naya. We've got someone from Berwick. Lovely, welcome. South Australia, Malakuta, wonderful. So welcome everybody. Best thing about working virtually is that we can welcome people from all over Australia, which is really lovely. So keep those comments coming and I will get started. So tonight we're going to be doing a couple of different things. We do have our cutter here. So pop in the chat and let us know, for those of you that currently have a Thermomix, do you have a cutter? Pop it in the chat and let me know. I'm going to use our spiralizer. So you're going to get to see a little bit of those attachments in action. For those of you that don't yet have a TM6, we do have our run out deal on at the moment, which has over $1,000 of our favorite accessories included, which is just insane. And our TM6 is an incredible Thermomix. So it is an amazing deal. Part of it is the cutter and the spiralizer. We also have our spiralizer and cutter available as a host reward. So for those of you that don't yet have a Thermomix, that don't yet have a cutter but do have a Thermomix, sorry, please chat to your consultant about how you can get a cutter and a spiralizer, or just a spiralizer at a really crazy cheap price. So please reach out if you have any questions, pop them in the chat or shoot us a message. So we're going to get started. Excuse me. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of slicing and spiralizing. So if you do have a cutter, have you had a bit of a play with it yet? And if you don't have a cutter, are you interested to see what it can do? Please excuse me, I am still a little bit sick. I was very lucky and earned a trip to Germany with my amazing Thermomix job. But I got back last week and we did bring a bug home with us. So I am still recovering from that. So please excuse me if I do start coughing. So when we're using our Thermomix cutter, we're going to start off by popping in the shaft. So this one here, it just goes straight down into on top of our blades like so. Now that is going to be what connects our blades to our cutter. In goes our basket. What I love about the basket is that when you take it out, you've got your cutter items in here and your bowl is clean, ready to move on to your main dish or whatever it is that you're cooking. So in goes our basket. And then we have our blade. Now we have our cutter blade here, which does our slicing on side one and our grating on side two. It might be a little bit hard to see in this light, but you do have pictures here to help you out: thick and thin slicing, thick and thin grating. on either side there. The grating looks like bullets. It's a bit hard to see. And the slicing looks like little discs. Then this one here is our spiralizer, which is our newest attachment. The spiralizer isn't available to be purchased just yet. It will be coming at some point, but it is available as a host reward. So you can do your spirals, you can do your zoodles, things like that. You can also do ribbons as well, which is really cool. So it just gives you the ability to do a little bit more again. So we're going to start off by slicing up some veggies for our dish tonight. So tonight we're doing the Chinese style chicken. For those of you that have a Thermomix, is this something that you have made before? For those of you that don't yet have a Thermomix, are Asian dishes, rice dishes, something that you're interested in your household? So I've got my cutter shaft in, I've got my bowl in, then we have the lid of our cutter here, and we're going to pop our blade. Now I'm going to do some slicing, not grating. So I'm going to choose my slicing side and I'm going to have it pointing upwards. So slicing upwards, and it's going to connect like so. Kelly, hello, Kelly. Delicious dish, and we make it heaps. Amazing. This one feeds a crowd as well. So it's great for meal prep, for big families, when you've got people coming over, any of those things. So we have here our pusher. We've got some really great names for our cutter. Pusher, really original, but that's okay. And I've got my veggies here. So I've got some onion, carrot, and capsicum that are all going into my Chinese style chicken. And we've got a zucchini, which we're going to do some spiralizing with. This recipe asks for 1 carrot, but I have a very fussy child that pretty much only eats carrot. We like carrot, so we're going to do a couple. So when you've got a TM6, you can slide over to your modes and you can scroll down to your mode screen here until you see grading, slicing, and spiralizing. If you are using a TM5, you can still use the cutter. You do need to use it in manual mode. There isn't a mode for it. And if you are using a TM31, unfortunately, the cutter does not fit. So we are going to go into our slicing. It gives you a little bit of instructions here, which you can have a read of. And then you've got your thick or your thin slicing. So for this one, I'm going to go thick because thin is very thin. Now, it's personal preference. I like to start the blade first. So I like to get it spinning. And then we're going to go in. I'm just going to use that to sort of glide it in. And in a couple of seconds, we have sliced up 3 carrots. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm not a master chef, so my slicing skills aren't great. So normally my veggies would all come out different sizes. And then we all know they don't cook evenly. But I love that with our slicer, our cutter, look at that. Perfectly sliced carrots. My daughter's about to go to bed and she's saying it looks great in the background. Thanks, babe. So there we go, perfectly sliced carrots in just a couple of seconds. What do we reckon? For those of you that don't have a cutter, do you think that's something that would make your life a little bit easier? Amazing. Keep those comments coming, guys. Otherwise, I feel like I'm talking to myself. I get a bit lonely over here. So next up, we are going to do some capsicum. So I've just got a capsicum chopped in half. Now you want to make sure that you've got the right width there. Again, we're going to go with some thick slicing. Make sure these ones fit down into our cutter. Gently guiding it down. And we have just sliced up our capsicum. And look at that. Perfect slices for our stir fry. Absolutely perfect. And again, just a couple of seconds. Em loves her cutter. Fabulous. What kind of things have you used the cutter for, Em? And then last up is our onion. Now, if you're anything like me, you might hate cutting onions. I'm a crier, hate cutting onions. I'm going to go thin for this one because I don't want it too thick because fussy kid. So I've just cut my onion in half, peeled it, and we're just going to feed it down. Oh, thin. And in a couple of seconds, we have sliced up a whole onion, guys. Look at that. Perfect. Now, I could not cut an onion that fine. Look at that. That's like paper thin. Even if I tried, as I said, I'm no master chef. My knife skills aren't amazing. But look at that. We have literally sliced a whole onion paper thin in just a couple of seconds, which is incredible. So thinking about the time that you would save when you've got a Thermomix, if you have a Thermomix, the time that you are saving, and especially when you have an attachment like the cutter, just going to give this a quick rinse. It can do all of that extra prep work for you that you might have to have been doing before. I always love to think, taking a method always. I've had a Thermomix for about 12 years now, maybe longer, 12 years. And I think about the hours that I have saved over the last 12 years thanks to my Thermomix. I've got 2 kids, for those of you that don't know much about me. I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. We're a very busy household. I work 2 jobs. My husband works. Our kids do activities. They go to school, play dates, all of those things, as most of us have on in our life. And having the Thermomix just makes my life so much easier. So for those of you that already do have a Thermomix, pop in the chat and let me know. Does your Thermomix save you time? If yes, what do you like to do with all that extra time that you have? If you don't have a Thermomix, do you think it might be able to help you save some time? So this one is our spiralizer. So we've got 2 different blades for our spiralizer. So we've got our spiral blade and we have our ribbon blade as well. So we've got this one. Now we want to line it up here so that these 2 are in line and push together. And when you look down, you should be able to see your blade. Now this one has a different pusher because you can attach your veggies to the end of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop that zucchini on the end. I laughed a little bit before when I was doing this. I'm such a child. Pop your zucchini on there. And then we're going to go out of this one and we're going to go into our spiralizing blade. Again, you can read your instructions there. And then we're going to start this one. And we're going to feed this one through. Is anybody a low-carb household? Do you like to use zoodles instead of pasta? Pop in the chat and let me know if that's something that you like. I'm one of the world's messiest cooks, and I love that while my Thermomix is doing things, I can be tidying up between steps, saving me time later. And look, guys, we have just zoodled a whole zucchini. Look at that. That is pretty long. Pretty impressed. That was a teeny tiny zucchini as well. But in just a couple of seconds, we have those beautiful zoodles ready to go to be switched out for your pastas, to be added as a side dish, something a little bit fun for the kids. I feel like my fussy kid might actually eat this. But these could be a great side, a salad. You could steam them, or of course, you could use them instead of a pasta or something like that. So that is how our Thermomix cutter and spiralizer work. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. As I said, love when you guys talk to me. But we're going to get our dish started now, and we can continue talking about that in a moment. But there we have our onion, carrot, capsicum, all sliced perfectly in our Thermomix cutter. Em said she loves her cutter for meal prep. She uses it more in manual modes than recipes. Great to slice veg for the week, salad rolls. My fussy kid ate the zoodles just because they looked cool. I reckon mine might too. So that's going to be our test this week. So we're going to head on into our weekly planner. Is everybody that has a Thermomix right now using Cookie Do and the meal plan function? If you are, pop in the chat and let us know. For those of you that don't have a Thermomix yet, is meal planning something that you're doing at home at the moment? So you can see I've got my Chinese style chicken, garlic and coriander naan, and I've got some Baker's Delight blueberry white choc scones. Now, this is a recipe that I've created. If you need this recipe, please send me a message later. I made another batch of these today. They're absolutely amazing. Better than store-bought and less than half the price and half the calories, which is amazing. So we're going to click on our Chinese style chicken. Our Chinese style chicken here is our guided cooking. So drag your finger up the screen. You've got your difficulty, prep time, total time, and your portions. Got your ingredients here and then your steps. Utensils, nutritional value, which is fab if you're into that, and any tips and tricks as well. So we hit the start cooking button, and the first thing it wants us to do is insert our varoma. That's not right. I did tell you I'm jet lagged and a little bit sick. We're going to insert our simmering basket, which is what it says here. It does not say insert varoma. Excuse me. Sorry, our simmering basket here. Jane Drain, welcome Jane, just says new to owning a thermo and love the meal plan. Love hearing that. Thank you, Jane. So our simmering basket here, just a top tip with your simmering basket, your spatula has your little hook on it. So what we do is we bring it back down flat and pull it, and that creates a handle for your simmering basket. So you can get that in and out safely without burning yourself when you've got hot water in the bowl. So great little tip for you. When you have a cutter, please remember to remove the cutter shaft as soon as you are done using it. If you leave it in the bowl and forget and come back later and use it, you may pop the ingredients in and chop it up. We don't want that to happen. They're only about $10 from the mix shop, but if we can avoid it, that's better. So always take your cutter attachment out, your shaft out, and pop it with your cutter straight away. But in goes our simmering basket. We're going to hit that next button, and we're going to use our scales here. We're going to weigh in 350 grams of medium grain rice. Now, if you're anything like me, you're just going to use any rice that you have. I don't buy different rices. I just buy one rice and use it for medium grain, long grain, short grain, whatever works for you. I try to keep my grocery bill to a minimum, so I find just having one style of rice is one of the ways to do that. So using our scales helps us to have less dishes. We don't have to get our cups, scales, things like that to be weighing. Oh, how satisfying is it when you get it bang on? So we've got 350 grams of our rice there. Hit the next button and rinse until rice is clear. That's just going to help you get off that powdery white coating kind of on our rice. Give it a bit of a rinse around. It will help your rice to be fluffier and lighter, not as kind of claggy. Then we're going to add a litre of water into our bowl. Now, we're just going to use tap water, room temp water. If you want to speed up the cooking process, you can use boiling water. That is definitely an option as well, or hot water from the tap. I'm looking upside down here, so there we go. A little bit over is fine. If you've ever seen me cook before, you know that I'm a near enough is good enough kind of cook. It does say 1 teaspoon of salt. I don't tend to put salt in my rice. I do when I cook pasta. I'm not sure why I don't with my rice. That is just my personal preference. So reminder, it is guided cooking. It is not set in stone. So you can make changes to suit you and your family. It's not going to beep at you or tell you you've done anything wrong. So we pop our simmering basket back in like so. The lid just closes down there. And then we're going to pop our lid on. We're going to put our varoma in place. So for our Thermomix owners, are we using our varoma at the moment? Pop in the chat and let me know. Is the varoma something that you are using? I love my varoma. Your varoma more than doubles the capacity of your Thermomix. We've got 3.3 litres of space in our varoma. Our TM7 will have 45% larger varoma. I don't know what math that is, but it will be slightly bigger again. But I love the varoma. We use ours a couple of times a week on average. It gives you the ability to do so much more. So if you're not using your varoma, please chat to your consultant and they can help you get using it. If you are, pop in the channel, let me know what is your favorite dish. And if you don't yet have a Thermomix, is meat and veg something that you're eating at the moment? If it is, let us know, because that is something that you can absolutely do with your varoma, which is amazing. So this is our varoma dish. This is our deep one. So the varoma dish goes on first. And we are, normally it will tell you if it would like you to use your dish or your tray. If a recipe doesn't tell you to use your dish or your tray, this is our tray here. I always recommend hard veggies in the dish, soft veggies in the tray, meat in the dish, veggies on the tray. Whatever needs to cook more or longer is going to go in the dish, because that's going to get a little bit more air circulating it. So in our dish, I'm going to add our carrots, because that's a hard veg. And we want them to be cooked the most. Now, when we're using our varoma, we want to make sure that we've got some air holes visible. So grab your spatula and just push it around and make sure you can see some air holes. That's going to make sure you've got ultimate circulation going. I'm going to put my tray in, do my capsicum. I don't want my capsicum as cooked, so I'm going to pop that there, and then my onion as well. So I'm going to follow our guided cooking now because that's what we're meant to be doing. Half a brown onion cut into slices there. I've got a whole one, but that's fine. 1 carrot. I've got my 3 carrots down the bottom. As we're using the Varoma, you really can load it up with whatever veg you want as well. So it doesn't need to be what's in the recipe. If you don't have capsicum, that's fine. If you've got green, not red, that's fine. If you want extra carrot, whatever it is, all is good. And then 150 grams of broccoli broken into florets. So I've just got kind of like small florets there. And I'm a little bit shy of the 150, but that's fine. We pop our Varoma lid on. And we've got 10 minutes on our guided cooking. It's asking us to turn our speed selector around to speed 4. So 10 minutes Varoma temperature. So Varoma is an attachment. It is also a temperature. So Varoma means to steam or to cook with aromas in French. So we are using our steaming attachment and we are on our steaming temperature. So our guided cooking preset us on 10 minutes, preset our Varoma temperature. All we have to do is turn the dial around to speed 4. Now, our rice is cooking in the basket and our veggies are cooking here. We are going to cook our chicken momentarily. That will happen after we've done this step. So I'm going to move this Thermomix to the side. I'm just going to check my comments. Sophie would love some more ideas for using the Varoma. Absolutely, Sophie. We can send you some of our favorite Varoma recipes after this class tonight. So many. For those of you that have Cookie Doo, jump on Cookie Doo. And you can actually search for Varoma and it will bring up some amazing Varoma recipes. And I highly recommend giving them a little shot because there's so many brilliant ones on there. Cheryl's asked, does your simmering basket fit the TM5 too, please? Yes, that simmering basket does fit the TM5 as well. They are the same size. It's just the TM6 simmering basket has a lid on it, just an extra added safety feature to stop overflowing, overfilling, that kind of thing. Tennille's always adding extra veggies with her Varoma. Amazing. So if you're cooking a recipe and it is sitting at 100 degrees or hotter, so if you're cooking at over 100 degrees, you can add your Varoma onto the top of it. Say you're cooking a soup, you're cooking a pasta, you know, anything like that that's got a bit of liquid in it that's creating a bit of steam. You can throw your Varoma on top with some veggies in it and steam those veggies off with the steam that's coming off your main dish, which is saving you money with your energy. It's saving you from having pots and pans going. It's just making your life that much easier. All right, so we're going to get some naan going now. So I'm going back into my weekly planner. Now, I am very aware that I am making a Chinese style chicken and I am making an Indian bread. I get that, and I know that that's probably not right, but I love this recipe and I really wanted to showcase the Varoma, the high heat mode, all the different bits and pieces. But we also love naan. I really wanted to use the kneading function, and naan is a really, really impressive recipe to make because it feels like something that's going to be quite hard, but it's actually not when you have a Thermomix. So I am aware, I do apologize for mixing cuisines, but come in the chat and let me know. Are you okay with having naan with a Chinese style dish? Marissa has papadums with her Thai green curry. Fabulous. All right, Marissa, you are my people and you're welcome to stay. So back into our weekly planner, and we're going to click on our garlic and coriander naan recipe. Now, I do have a question for you all. Do we like coriander? Do you like coriander? Pop it in the chat. Do you not like coriander? Because I personally can't stand coriander. I think it tastes like soap, and I don't know why anybody would want to eat it. Marissa, sorry, you can't stay now. Lisa, too? No. Yes. Oh, Brooke can stay. Joe can stay. I feel like it's just the funniest question to ask, because it always makes me laugh. You either love coriander or you hate. Somebody did tell me that apparently there is a scientific fact that it either tastes like soap or tastes like coriander, so I'm not weird. But I reckon we're pretty split on a 50-50 there. So if you do like coriander, great. If you don't, also great. So it is guided cooking, not set in stone. So we're going to scroll down, and now on our TM6 screen, we can, I'm just laughing at the vomit emoji that's just come in the chat. We can scale our recipes. So we can scale recipes to change the portion sizing. Now, I did make some naan dough for you earlier because I wanted you to see the end result. So I am going to hit my scale button, which is on my recipe screen here. And I'm just going to go down to 4 portions. We can go up to 8 portions. We've got 6 as our standard, or we can go down to 4. Scaling recipes is a really helpful thing to do if you've got a large family, a small family, if you only want to cook a portion of something, you love something you need to make extra, whatever it is. Never too much garlic. Yeah, never too much garlic. That is right, Jess. So a lot of the recipes are pre-scaled for you, which you can find here. So when you scroll your finger down in your portions here, you can pre-scale a lot of them. If for some reason it doesn't give you the opportunity to pre-scale, not all are pre-scaled, you can just do it on the app on your phone or the website on your computer. So if it's not there, just open the app and hit the scale button and it will create a new recipe for you. Hit that start cooking button and we're going to skip 6 sprigs of fresh coriander, which if you like coriander, you're going to pop that in. If you like me, we're going to leave it out. We're just going to skip past those steps, transfer into a bowl and set aside. Now we're going to go with 40 grams of ghee, which is this one here. If you've never cooked with ghee before, it is clarified butter. It is like a cooked down version of butter. You can tell it is summer in Melbourne because my ghee is very soft. Ghee is normally in my house anyway. I'm just using an extension lead and it's swinging it out. I'm going to put in those scales. There we go, that's better. And yes, ghee is normally quite hard, but it is nice and soft. Means it's not going to take long to melt at all. Already pretty much melted. 40 grams of ghee, and we're going to pop our lid on, and we've got 1 minute on our timer, 120 degrees, and it's asking us to turn our speed selector around to 1. As I said, that is not going to take full amount of time. So we're just going to give that a second. What we're doing here is we are creating a like a garlic paste that is going to go over the top of our naan. So pop in the channel, let me know, do you like garlic? Because if you've ever seen me cook before, you might know that I love garlic. I always joke, we don't get sick very often in our house. It's just me who's sick at the moment, but we really don't. And I always put it down to the amount of garlic that we eat. We eat too much garlic to possibly get sick. So I can hear that my ghee has already melted. We're just going to do our cool down, which is our safeties. We can't open the lid when it is hot to protect you from anything coming out. So it goes into its cool down mode. Are there many main meal recipes on Cookie Doo that do a 6+ serving? There absolutely are, Kate. So you can filter on Cookie Doo. For those of you that are using Cookie Doo at the moment, you can hit the filter. There's our melted ghee, so it does look a bit like olive oil now. But you can filter by portion. So you can filter for main meals and then you can filter by portion size as well. And that will bring up all the main meals that feed 6 or more people, and there are hundreds on there. So 2 garlic cloves, I'm going to go with 3 because as Jess said, there's no such thing as too much garlic, especially in a garlic naan. Lid on, and we're going to go 3 seconds and around to speed 7. You will notice that it takes a little minute to get started because the timer doesn't actually start until you hit your speed. So instead of starting at 3 seconds and taking a moment to get to that speed, it actually won't start counting until we've hit it. So we've chopped that up, but I like that a little bit smaller because we're going to add that to the top of our naan. So I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to do the same thing again, 3 seconds on speed 7. So it's just like when you're using when you're cooking regularly, you know, you make changes to suit you. You look at something and you think, oh, no, that's not quite how I like it. I'd like it more. I'd like it less, whatever it is. So you can make those changes to suit you. Just chopped up that little bit more, which is perfect for me. So scrape down sides of mixing bowl. Now it does want 3/4 teaspoon of nigella seeds. I don't have nigella seeds. I've never used them in this recipe. I actually don't really know what they are. So I'm just going to skip past that as well. So what that would do would just be to cook down those nigella seeds into your garlic and ghee mixture. And as I said, we're just going to leave that out. And this is going to be that topping for our beautiful naan. Now, don't stress too much about scraping your bowl out too heavily, and you definitely do not need to clean it, which is what it says here. Do not clean mixing bowl, which is one of my favorite instructions. Pop that one to the side because that garlic is going to infuse into our naan. So grease a large bowl with olive oil and set aside, which you don't need to do if you've got a Thermomix mat. Got a Thermomat. We're going to use that instead. Use this one here. I love my Thermomix mat. You can purchase those from the mix shop. If you don't have one, I suggest getting one. They are the best. So we're going to go with 160 grams of milk. Now I am lactose intolerant and I do all my baking with oat milk. So I'm going to go, it does say full cream milk, but I'm going to use oat milk. You could use lactose-free milk, you could use full cream milk, whatever works for you. And then we're going with a teaspoon of instant dried yeast. If you've ever seen me cook before, you'd know I like to guesstimate. That's about a teaspoon. Put our lid on. We've got 2 minutes on our timer. We're going to go to 37 degrees and around to speed 1. What we're doing here is we are warming or activating our yeast. So tell me, for those of you that have a Thermomix, are you making dough at the moment? If you are, pop in the chat and let me know what's your favorite dough to make in your Thermomix. If you don't yet have a Thermomix, let me know in the chat. Is dough something that you are making or that you are buying? Is there something that you're specifically buying each week? Pop in the chat and let me know. Back to Kate's comments about sizing. She said, we're a family of 7 and I don't use my Thermomix much because most are 4 serves. Kate, do you have a cookie dough account? Put in the chat and let me know. So 37 degrees is our ultimate temperature for our yeast. So we're activating our yeast and getting it to its ultimate temperature, which means it's going to brew faster and lighter and fluffier, which is what we want. We're essentially like feeding that yeast and getting it prepped and ready to go. Back to our Chinese style chicken. Stir vegetables in Varoma tray and add in 200 grams of trimmed snow peas. This one a little bit of a stir. Sure, these are cooking evenly. Then we're going to add, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my broccoli into my dish, make a little bit of room. My snow peas. Now I'm not using 200 grams. Snow peas are very expensive. My kids don't eat them, so I've reduced the amount. I've got about 100 grams there, trimmed and ready to go. 120 grams. I'm going to pop our lid back on. Now this one cooks for another 5 minutes. I find that's not quite enough, so I'm going to go to 9 minutes and around to speed 4. Boiled rice on cookie dough cooks for about 20 minutes. So that's going to give us about 19, which I'm going to find will be perfect for us. Again, make those changes that suit you. So we have activated our yeast nicely here. Excuse my turning of the camera, and I should shut up. All right. So we've activated our yeast. So you can feel that is nice and warm, sitting at about 37 degrees. So for those of you that have made bread by hand before, you might remember that it'll ask you to use warm water. See? It'll ask you to use warm water. If your water's too warm, you'll kill your yeast. If it's not warm enough, it won't activate. So this is getting it to that optimal temperature to ensure the perfect rise. So 1 1/4 tablespoons of olive oil. Again, that's about right. I know I give some people anxiety watching me cook, so I do apologize if that's you. 3/4 teaspoon of sugar. You might notice the quarters normally aren't on this recipe, but because we've scaled it, it's asking for 1 1/4, 3/4, that kind of thing. 1 1/4 teaspoons of sea salt. My salt is coming out quite slowly. I'm not overdoing it, I promise. And then 320 grams of baker's flour, which I apologize, I didn't get out. A lovely friend of mine went to Costco. I have to live in my cupboard. So 320 grams of baker's flour. So with our baker's flour, it has a higher protein content and gluten content than regular plain flour. So when we're doing our bread making, always make sure you do have baker's flour I used to buy the Wallabies bag from Woolies. It's about $15 for 5 kilos. Have one of those in the cupboard because you will find with the Thermomix you will use it a lot. If you do go to Costco, the 20-kilo bag, 25-kilo bag is $25. So it is an absolute bargain, which I love. 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic paste. So I made some garlic paste earlier. It is literally just some garlic cloves chopped and a little bit of olive oil. So I literally just chopped up 2 garlic cloves with some olive oil. And that is going in now. I love having a Thermomix and not buying all those jar items. If you've ever tasted garlic paste versus fresh garlic, you'll know that they don't taste anything alike. Fresh garlic is so much nicer. So I always recommend doing things like that. 80 grams of natural yogurt. So I've just got some of the lactose-free Greek yogurt. Seem to use all the spoons in our house. And I never know how. So we're going in with 80 grams of that. This is what gives naan that really beautiful, thick, fluffy texture. I'm going to pop our lid on, and we've got 20 seconds, and it's asking us to turn our dial around to speed 3. We're doing that. Just checking our comments. Marissa's using the Thermo Mama recipes for dough. Amazing. Kate hasn't made dough yet, but is going to make blueberry and white chocolate scones as her first try. Wonderful, Kate. Let me know how you go. Tennille likes my guesstimating. Thanks, Tennille. Oh, that's okay. Welcome, Alison. Thank you for joining us. Alison's just seen the link on Instagram. Here you are. Tonight we're making the Chinese-style chicken, and we're doing some garlic and coriander naan. Well, garlic naan, no coriander. So there is our dough mixed together. We're going to pop our lid back on, and we've got 3 minutes on our kneading function. So 3 minutes. There's no speed on your kneading function. You just turn the dial, and it will start doing its kneading. So kneading is one of my favorite Thermomix functions. I get asked all the time, what do I love most about my Thermomix? And I'll always say, it's a little bit like my children. It depends on the day of the week as to what I love the most or who I love the most. Don't tell them I said that. I never have favorites. But my favorite function would probably be the kneading function. I would never make bread personally by hand. I don't have time to stand there and knead it. 2 minutes of kneading in the Thermomix is the equivalent of 20 minutes of kneading by hand. So personally, I don't have the time to do that, and I love that I can do it in just 2 minutes or 3 in my Thermomix. Brooke says her favorite is also the kneading function. So those of you that do have a Thermomix, pop in the chat and let us know, what is your favorite Thermomix function? What do you love about it the most? What's its favorite thing that it can do for you in your household? And for those of you that don't yet have a Thermomix, what do you think your favorite function might be? You've seen a couple tonight. We've done some slicing, spiralizing, steaming, and kneading. Is there something that's really caught your eye, something that you've heard about that you think might become your favorite if you did have a Thermomix on your bench? Em's also said, hands down, the dough function, even making pastry is the bomb. Pastry is another thing that I never thought, I would never make by hand, but huge money saver being able to make your own pastry, and it just tastes so much better. I love to make like a quiche Lorraine. I make like a veggie pack quiche Lorraine, full of protein, great for the lunch prep each week. And it makes the pastry in 20 seconds, and it is delicious. It's so much cheaper than store-bought pastry, and it's not full of nasties as well. A lot of pastries in the supermarket don't have butter in them. They use cheap oils, which I know some people don't like having in their diet, and the butter obviously tastes a lot better as well. So you can control that when you're making it. What have we got? All of the above, love it all. Thanks, Alison. Jane's loving the dough function. Bread turns out awesome. Jane's only had her Thermomix for about, 3 weeks now, Jane? And she's making everything. And I'm so impressed. Pastries, breads, meals, all of it. The egg boiler function too. The egg boiler is a great one in our TM6. So when we hit our house button here, we can head on over to our modes. We have over 20 different modes and functions in our TM6. When we scroll down, we do have our egg boiler there. So that gives you perfect boiled eggs. If you haven't used it before, give it a shot. If you don't have a Thermomix, there is another function that you might decide that you like. So pop your eggs in, some water, select how you like them, soft, medium, hard, and they come out perfect every time. Perfect in the morning if you want to be getting ready, pop your eggs on, come back, and there's your brekkie done. Rice cooker and mashed potato, love it, Kate. Sometimes it's the simple things like rice cooker and mashed potato. Cheryl loves soup, chopping, cooking, and pureeing all in one bowl. Yeah, love that, Cheryl. What a time saver. Amazing. The rice, the fluffiest rice every time. Absolutely. I used to struggle making rice on the stove so much. We never ate rice because I just couldn't get it right. I'd burn it, I'd overboil it, it'd be crunchy, I'd always make a mess. So 20 minutes in your Thermomix and it's perfect every time. Now that is our naan dough. The smell of garlic coming out of there is 10 out of 10. My son's dirty that he was going to bed and wasn't going to get to eat the hot naan. So I've had to promise that he can take naan in his lunchbox tomorrow. I'm not sure if naan's an appropriate lunch, but anyway, he's having naan, garlic naan for lunch tomorrow. So we get out our Thermomix mat. So this is your silicone mat. That is perfect for proving, shaping, rolling, all of those things. Now we are going to twist our blades back and forwards, which you can do with your fingers. Somebody that I know was kind enough to 3D print me a like a dough, a blade release kind of knob. And the TM7 will actually have one on the end of the spatula. So you will be able to buy the TM7 spatula if you've got a TM6. It will have one of these on the bottom, which will be brilliant. So back and forward until it releases your dough. If you're doing that with your fingers, that is fine. I'm also a hairdresser and I have really bad hands. So I find it much easier using this little thingy-majiggy that someone made me. Still got a bit of dough in there. So grab your spatula and just use it to go around your bowl and grab out the rest of this one. Our naan dough is a very sticky dough. It is much stickier than most dough recipes. So grab it out. You can see we've still got quite a bit stuck to our blades. So my top tip with our dough is hit your house button, pop your lid on, head back over to your modes and go to your turbo function. Arms will lock. 1 second. Now you do need to exit your turbo mode, hit your book and it'll take you back. Exit your turbo mode for your arms to unlock. It always takes a second, so it is a safety feature. And there we have flicked a lot of that dough off those blades. So we're not wasting it and it's going to be much easier for you to clean. So grab some more out, go. Right. Now, as I said, oh, got 2 spatulas on the go. Our Thermomix mat, we're going to wrap it, fold it into a little package. And that is going to trap the warmth in and help it to rise even faster again, which is what we want. So transfer dough onto a silicone bread mat or a floured work surface and shape into a ball. Transfer into prepared bowl if you don't have a silicone mat. And keep in a warm place to prove for 1 to 2 hours. Transfer dough onto a silicone bread mat or a floured work surface and divide into 4 equal portions, which we are going to do in just a moment. So our guided cooking walks us through step by step, which is another thing that I really love. It takes the hassle out of cooking, which is brilliant. So that one has finished. Make sure you can see that okay. Place vegetables into a bowl. Just going to grab them and see what check the glass. I'll find the link to that one. Not sure where things go in my house. Have you got a thermoserver to our Thermomix owners? If you don't, you can grab one as a host reward, and I highly recommend chatting to your consultant about it. They are the best thing ever. They will keep your food at the temperature it goes in at for up to 2 hours. So insulated bowl to keep your main meals hot, your sides cold, whatever it is. So place vegetables into a bowl. Now these are cooked perfectly. So we've still got, that's quite hot, obviously. We've still got the color to it. It hasn't drained all the life out of them, which is how I like it. A little bit crunchy still. But if you like them super crunchy, you could have not added that extra time as I did. Into our thermoserver to stay warm. Onion, capsicum, snow peas. And then we're going to pop the lid on and to the side. Missed one. All right. So we do have videos on our TM6, which is something that I love, little instructional videos to help you along the way. So this one is about using the hook of your spatula, which I did talk to you about earlier. I think they're showing us how to do that. So again, we go in and down. Now my basket's in a bit of an odd spot. I'm just going to turn it this way. And there's that handle stopping me from getting burnt. Transfer rice into a separate bowl and cover. I'm going to get my other thermoserver. Wow. I do have 3 thermoservers, and it is quite often that I will use at least 2. Occasionally, I will use all 3. I believe I can never have too many. There is, look at that, the most perfect fluffy rice, as we said, a few of you said in the comments, every single time. Just love it. My fussy child is a rice addict. He's obsessed with the Thermomix rice. His dessert when we have rice is once he's finished his dinner, he is allowed to get the simmering basket and he eats straight out of the simmering basket and finishes off the rice plain, nothing on it, no sauce, no sides, just rice. This is his favourite thing to do. Whatever makes you happy, as long as he eats his dinner. All right, transfer rice into a separate bowl and cover, discard our steaming liquid. And then we're just going to give that little wipe out. Doesn't need to be washed though. 20 grams of olive oil going in. Now we're going to do our stir fry or our high heat mode for our chicken. I personally find a lot of cookie dough recipes have too much oil for what I would usually cook with. So I always find myself reducing the oil, might kind of halve it or, 2/3, that kind of thing. So I've done about 12 grams of oil. You do need some olive oil because it is a stainless steel bowl. It is not Teflon. So you will need oil to stop sticking. But I don't find that you need as much as it asks for. So we've got some chicken breasts here, which I've just cut into kind of strips. And we're going to go with 300 grams. Now, there isn't a huge amount of meat in this dish. You might think that's not enough to feed my family, but because we've got the rice and all of those veggies, you'll be surprised how much this makes. If you do want to add more chicken, do your 300 grams. You can do about 350, a little bit over. But because we are using a high heat mode, we do need to have around the right amount in there. As somebody who wings it, I know that goes against everything that I say, but we do need about the right amount so it can really sizzle and brown. But we're going to pop our splash guard on, hit the done button. We've got 5 minutes on our timer. We're on our max temperature and those heat lines, no speed, that is our high heat mode. So if you would like more chicken, do your 5 minutes, pop your chicken in your thermoserver and throw another 300, 350 grams in. And that's going to beef you up to that 600 to 700 grams of chicken with all of those veggies and that rice as well. And of course, if you're making a side like your naan or something, you've got that done as well. So our high heat mode is what we're using now. Now, our high heat mode was one of our biggest game changers when we updated from the TM5 to the TM6. This one goes 40 degrees hotter than the older models in the TM31 and the TM5. This is one of my other favorite functions. Now, I have my AirPods in, so I don't think you'll be able to hear. I can't get any closer. I'm not sure if you can hear the sizzle, but within, 20, 30 seconds, it's already hit temperature and it's got the most amazing sizzle sound happening. You'll start to notice we get some like steam, almost smoke coming out of the top, just like you would on the fry pan. So the high heat mode is mimicking our fry pan. So for those of you that have a TM6, are you using your high heat mode? And if yes, what are you using it for? Pop in the chat and let us know. So the high heat mode essentially mimics your fry pan, but it means you don't have to stand there and stir it. So the TM6 has the ability for the blades to stop moving, which is something the TM5 and 31 couldn't do. So it gets really, really hot. The blades stop moving, which means that it starts to caramelize and brown. In the older model Thermomixes, when the blades spin consistently, you're unable to get that caramelization because it's not stopping and sitting on that heat and getting that direct transfer. So with this mode, it spins, stops, it sizzles, it sears, and then it spins again before it burns, and it repeats that process. So it's a really cool mode. It's really clever and it adds some really amazing depth and flavor to your meal that you might not have been able to get before. Just reading our comments again. Callie has 8 thermosavers, but only used 3. They're new in the box. Amazing, Callie. We might have to get some off you and distribute to everybody. The beef taco one, I reduced the oil by half or more. Yeah, agreed. And again, yeah, lots of comments about reducing the oil. And Alison, you do need to get a thermosaver. Marissa is using her high heat mode for onions, which is great. You can do your caramelizing, browning, that kind of thing, which is brilliant. So that is going. And what we're going to do is shake some naan. So here is our pre-done naan. Here's the one that we've got rising because it does take an hour or so to prove. I did pre-make some for you. They said I did a half batch earlier. And here it is. So it did pop out of my the edge of my mat a little bit, and that is fine. So grab your spatula and just scrape it off. Like so. Use a non-stick mat, as I said, but it does get that little bit sticky, but your spatula is the perfect tool to remove that. As I said, your naan is quite a sticky dough. You will find that it sticks to your hands quite a bit. If you need a little bit of extra flour, that is fine. I would even like to just pop some flour onto my hands. So I did, there's 3 portions in here, but you can make them to whatever size works for you and your family. So if you want to make really big ones, quite small ones, that's absolutely fine. Using your spatula, when you're using a Thermomix mat, never use a knife, always use your spatula. We're going to cut this one into portions. You want them even-ish, don't stress too much. We're going for the homemade rustic look. It's not meant to be perfect like in the stores. Now, divide your naan into portions. Gently work each portion into a ball and using the heel of your hand, gently stretch each dough portion into an oval shape, approximately 23 by 15 centimeters. So a little bit of flour if you want on your mat into a ball. Really important when you're making dough not to overwork your dough. When you overwork dough, it becomes really dense, heavy, thick, which is not what we want. So try not to play with it too much. So that's a ball. And with the palm of my hand, the heel of my hand, I am just stretching my naan out. And what did I say? 23 by 15. So our Thermomix mat does have measurements is the word I'm looking for along the side. So that's about 20 centimeters. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer and I need to make it a little bit wider. And that is literally our naan, which we're going to pop in the fry pan in just a moment. But we're going to repeat that process. So again, with the heel of your hand, pushing it down, flip it around if you need, until you get to around and around. It doesn't need to be perfect. 23 by 15. And then doing it with our last piece as well. This one's a little bit smaller, I think, than my other 2. Heel of your hand, working it like this. Pretty excited to eat 9 p.m. naan, I'm not going to lie. I live in Bunyip. We have minimal takeaway options. We do have a Chinese shop. I've never eaten from there before. I've heard really mixed reviews, but we definitely do not have any Indian takeaway around here. And I try not to buy things like naan in the packets. I had to pop into my supermarket earlier and I did notice they were selling naan for $4.80 for 2 pieces of garlic naan, which would be so filled with preservatives, they wouldn't be very fresh or tasty. And you can make 8 pieces for probably the same cost in your Thermomix, which is amazing. So we're going to get those cooked in just a second. We're going to hit that next button using tongs, transfer chicken to bowl with vegetables. Some tongs. Sorry. As you can see, I can't tip that too far because I'll tip the juices out. We've got some of those pan juices down there as you would get if you were cooking this on the pan. And look at that. We've got that beautiful browning going on that chicken there, just like you would on the fry pan. So we're going to add our chicken using our tongs because we want to keep our pan flavors or our juices in the bowl. So we're going to incorporate that into our sauce. Get those ones out. When you use your high heat mode, you may notice occasionally you get a little bit of browning on the bottom of your bowl, which is really normal. Again, stainless steel. When you're cooking, to help with that, you can deglaze your bowl with your spatula by doing this in between steps. But if you do get a little bit of browning, we do have that self-clean mode that you can use. You can use to help with that. Or a little bit of vinegar and bicarb soda and like light scour will get rid of it as well. So using tongs, transfer chicken into the bowl with vegetables, leaving remaining cooking juices in the bowl. Scrape sides to loosen caramelization. Then we're going to add in some fresh ginger. I've got a piece of fresh ginger here. Now, I did learn recently, ginger actually doesn't need to be peeled. You can eat the skin of your ginger. So I just cut off any hard, knobby pieces and then just leave some of that skin on. The thermo is going to pulverize that small enough that you're not going to notice. I've got 14 grams, a little bit over, but I love fresh ginger. And then it wants 2 garlic cloves, and of course, I'm going to go with 3. I think I even had 3.5 there. Then we're going to pop our lid on. We're going back in with our measuring cup, so we no longer need our splash guard. And we've got 8 seconds. I'm going around to speed 7. Chopping is one of those really simple things that I do love about my Thermomix. You know, we talk a lot about the fancy functions and features of our TM6, but as I said, sometimes it is just those basic things like chopping that I really love and I'm very grateful for. Saves me money not buying jarred garlic and ginger, and it just tastes so much better. You cannot compare the taste of fresh over jarred or chewed. But in those 8 seconds, we have totally blitzed up that garlic and fresh ginger. So thinking about how long that would take by hand if you were trying to do it with fresh. We're going to go with 90 grams of soy sauce or tamari. Tamari is just a gluten-free version of soy sauce, essentially. You are a gluten-free household, you may know that. Either is fine. 90 grams of soy. We're going to go with 80 grams of honey. Everything's just kind of so easy to get out tonight because it is so hot. Oh, 80 grams, guys, on the dot. So satisfying. 40 grams of rice wine vinegar. Is this one here in the Asian aisle if you've never used this before. I don't love the 40 grams. I find it a little bit overpowering, so I'm just going to go with the 30. That is just my personal preference. And then we've got 3 teaspoons of corn flour, which is just to thicken our sauce because we are making that sauce for our stir fry. I'm going to pop our lid on. Where did I put my lid? Right there, next to my thermo. Lid on, and we've got 2 minutes on 100 degrees and around to speed 3. So we've got our veggies, our chicken, our rice, and now our sauce cooking. And while that's happening, we're going to pop our naan onto the fry pan. So we're going to turn our fry pan on. And want it on about a medium heat. Now, I am going to make you guys seasick for a moment. I apologise, but I do want to show you how we're going to put the naan on the fry pan. Please excuse the mess in my kitchen. By myself on Zoom. All right, so over to the fry pan we go. I'm looking at gas because you have a Teflon pan. Don't go to that Teflon, everybody goes. So you want it small, not too hot. Then we're going to grab one of our naans. Looks like. And once your pan is ready, we're going to pop that one in. Now, we don't want to cook these for too long. So, here we go. We have to do it 2 at a time. I'm going to put those in. And we're going to pop those on. And our recipe does say, working 1 naan at a time, place into fry pan and cook until dark brown blisters are formed, approximately 1 to 1.5 minutes each side. So that depends on the heat of your pan, all of those things. You will notice that you will start to get some bubbles. So if you've ever made a roti before or a wrap or anything like that, you will remember that you will start to see some air bubbles forming. The first one's always going to take the longest, just like when you're cooking pancakes or anything like that. Then after that, it is going to get quicker. So make sure you turn your heat down as you move to the second and third, etc. You see we're starting to rise here really nicely. Won't take long to flip it over and I can show you. And then we're going to dish up. We are on the 1 hour mark now. We've probably got 5 minutes left to the absolute top. So I'd love if you could stay with me. It is probably a little bit hard to see from your angle, but we are getting some bubbles happening. Don't want to flip it too soon. If flip it too soon, we're not going to get the air bubbles that we want. So we want our naan to be nice and bubbly. So we want it to be nice and bubbly, which is going to give you that beautiful fluffy flavor, texture. That's what I'm looking for. Then we have our garlic and ghee mixture that we whipped up at the start of our recipe. If it is cold, you will find that your ghee will have hardened slightly, which is fine. It's still quite spreadable, especially once you put it on your warm naan. So I'm just going to use a pastry brush there to brush that on, and then we're going to give it a light salt sprinkle as well. So you can see that one there, we've got really nice air bubble forming in that naan. And we've got a couple happening over here as well. So we're almost ready to flip them. The bottom got some goldenness happening on the underneath. A couple more bubbles forming there. So I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds. And then we can flip it. Has anybody made naan before? I'm not sure if I asked that question earlier. Has anybody made anything like naan or roti, any of those doughs or breads? Pop in the chat and let me know. Even tortillas, things like that. Or is this something that you love to eat or buy? I did look up a little while ago. I was doing a bit of a comparison and the cost to buy naan at an Indian restaurant. So you're paying $6 for one piece of naan in an Indian restaurant. I understand why it costs that, but that also feels wild to me. So being able to make, as I said, six or 8 pieces of naan for about $6 in your Thermomix is a crazy money saver there. Jess made the Turkish flatbread. Oh, yum. Delicious. So while that other side is cooking, I'm going to grab my garlic and ghee. Now, ghee will have that really beautiful garlic flavour to it. So you don't need to make sure that you've got heaps of garlic cloves on there because that ghee has been basting in that garlic. Give it a little brush and then a light sprinkle with salt. Don't go too hard on the salt. You want a little bit for the flavour, but I find too much is not very nice. So your second side is never going to take as long as your first side, just like again with your pancakes. Perfect. We have just made garlic. If you were having coriander, you would be covering it in coriander. We've just made fresh garlic naan in no time at all. Fraction of the cost of buying it in the supermarket or at a restaurant, and absolutely delicious. Let me grab a plate to put that on. Then we're going to serve up our honey style chicken, and we're done. If you've thought of any questions that you haven't asked, please pop them in the chat box now. Give me an opportunity to answer those. Excuse me again while I move you around. Now, as I said, for those of you that don't currently have a TM6, we do have our buy deal on at the moment with our run out, which is incredible. So over $1,010 worth of freebies with your TM6 purchase. So including your cutter, your spiralizer, our glider board, an extra year's worth of cookie dough, cutter, spiralizer, glider board, a year of cookie dough. Can somebody in my wonderful team help me out? What is the last thing that I'm forgetting? I feel like there's something else there. Blade cover peeler, and a second bowl. Thank you, guys. Second bowl, one of the most important things to talk about. So having a second bowl is the next best thing to having 2 Thermomixes. I love having 2 thermos, but having a second bowl is a game changer. So second bowl, cutter, peeler, spiralizer, glider board, and an extra year of cookie dough, all included with your TM6 purchase at the moment. So this is the most incredible deal we've ever offered as we run out our TM6 and prepare for our TM7. Now, we get asked a lot, should I wait for the TM7 if I don't have a TM6? That is totally up to you and not really a question that we can answer. But if you are struggling with that, we do have a questionnaire that we can help you out with that will take you through a list of questions that will help you get to the answer of whether you should wait for the 7 or purchase the 6. Some of the things that are going to help you is our TM7 won't have any accessories, including a second bowl, for quite some time. They will focus on bringing out the TM7, and then accessories will come at a later date. TM7 pre-sales start on the 3rd of April. We're hoping for delivery in July. And those accessories, we don't have a date for those, but it could be well into the new year before we see those. So if you are wanting an opportunity to get all the accessories, the TM6 may be the way to go for you at the moment with that buy-buy bundle. Our finance options are available on our TM6. We have 24 months interest-free available through Hum and Zip. They won't be available on our TM7 in our pre-sale. That will be one payment only. So that's another big decider for you. It also comes down to July is quite a long way away. Would you like to get a Thermomix on your bench now and start saving money, time, eating better, having a higher quality of food, healthier, saving money, all of those different things? If you'd like to start doing that now, then a TM6 is for you. If you're somebody who's really into the latest technology, you've always got the latest iPhone, waiting for the TM7 might be the right choice for you. So really comes down to a couple of different things. But if you have questions, please chat to your consultant, because we would love to help you work that out. The other option is you can come on board and join our team and be one of the first people to get a TM7. If you currently have a TM6, you can join our amazing team and get a TM7 absolutely free. So if you've got a TM6 at the moment, you will get a free business kit. We will train you, give you all the tools that you need, and then you've got until the 30th of July to do 6 sales to earn a TM7 on top of commission. So you'll earn a couple of $1,000, get some freebies, plus a totally free TM7, which is insane. So please reach out if you have questions about that as well. And if you don't have a TM6, you can also join at the moment, and with just 3 sales, that will earn you a TM6. So that is an incredible option as well. 3 sales for a TM6. You could then stick around and do another 6 sales and get a TM6 and a TM7 plus some commission. Or if you already have a TM6, you can come on board, and with just 6 sales over that 4-month period, you will get a TM7 plus commission, which is incredible. So if you have any questions about any of those things, drop them below, send me a message, or please ask your consultant. We would love to give you some more info about that. So we're going to pour our sauce. Look at that beautiful, thick, sticky chicken, Asian, Chinese, it's the word I was looking for, sauce. So Kate said, I just missed the bundle, and then they brought out the TM7. It is hard when that happens, I do understand. I had a TM31 for about 8 months before the TM5 came out, so it wasn't a very long time. So I do absolutely understand that. But at the end of the day, the TM6 is an incredible Thermomix, and we've had some amazing gift we've purchased lately. So I'm glad to hear, Kate, that you are loving your TM6. So on to our veggies and our chicken. We are going to pop that sauce. Yum. This is going to be my lunches for the next few days. Give that a stir. So this is great for meal prep, as I said. High protein, low calorie, full of flavor, full of goodness. Carbs, protein, hits all the boxes. Or a great meal to feed the fam. And it does really feed the crowd, this one, especially if you want to make something like the roti or the naan. The roti is a much quicker option. Roti doesn't have the rising time that naan does, so roti can be whipped up in literally 15 minutes start to finish. So you could make a batch of the roti or papadum, something like that to go with. We've got some rice. Chicken and veggies. As I said, you could hit that back button and do another batch of your chicken if you wanted to add more. You're needing to feed more people, or you feel that you're a big meat eating family. And then I'm going to sprinkle with some sesame seeds. And there we have our Chinese style chicken stir fry, which we used our layered cooking. We used our simmering basket, our varoma, to do our rice, meat, and veggies all at the same time. We used our high heat mode to brown off the chicken. And there we have it. Plus, we have that beautiful garlic naan, which I know is Indian, not Asian, but that is a delicious combo in my eyes. So pop in the chat and let me know, how does that look? Are they dishes that you're going to be making in your household moving forward? Or is that something that has made you consider maybe a Thermomix is the right thing for you? If you have any questions at all about tonight's demo, please pop them in the chat so I can answer them for you. Please reach out to your consultant if you have any other questions, or myself. We would love to answer those for you about anything in general. And if you have if you'd like any info about joining the team, please stick around at the end of the cooking experience, because I'd love to answer any questions for you. And my last question is, before you go, what was your favorite thing about the demo tonight? What did you love the most? Did you learn a new trick? Was it the dish? What is it that you loved the most about tonight? Pop it in the chat and let us know. And a big thank you to you for coming along and joining us. Again, my name is Chelsea McGill, Thermomix consultant from Bunyip, team leader of the Terminators, and we're very happy to have you here tonight. We will be back next month. I'll be back with some of my wonderful consultants to put on another cooking class, so please come along and join us then, and we'll see you all soon. Again, welcome to stay on if you have any questions. I'm just going to read through the chat. Seriously, Em, that naan, if only you lived closer, I could come and deliver you that. Look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. 10 out of 10. I'm just going to read the comments here. Lisa, yes, you can access the recording. I will email it through to all of you. I'm hungry. Looks great. Kelly's going to give the naan a go. Kate, I'm glad you've got a lesson in the cutter there. M's naan always turns out thin. So M, you don't want to push it. Leave it a little bit thicker. You might be flattening it a little bit too much, I find. And then you'll get that extra rise. Kelly's never going to buy a supermarket naan again, that's for sure. Oh, awesome, Jess. Let me know how you go when you make them. I'm going to hit